What is up, everybody? CP and SJ with you here for another week's of picks from every day we're covering as we're into the quarterfinal round of the college football playoff. We've had a little bit of a lull here in between those first round games and now getting ready here for the quarterfinals here for the New Year's holiday. But this is when it always feels like it gets serious come bowl season time, SJ. Traditionally in the past, of course, all the big games kind of fell right around New Year's Day, whether it was New Year's Eve or right after that. And now, of course, we got a little extra added juice in it because we've got this playoff, and we should have some good excitement, hopefully, on tap.
Yeah, for all the changes that people complain about, it's nice still to have that like New Year's day of football. And even this week, I mean, it's a sicko's dream. You got Appalachian State against Georgia, freaking Southern on a Monday afternoon, and then today there was another one kind of that sort. So yeah, give me those all day of the week, man. You can't go wrong with some noon football.
Yeah, this is what they've kind of fixed this too, because there's been other times previously with this playoff where they haven't made it work around the schedule properly. So at least we're getting those games on New Year's Day. That's a good trend in the right direction. Now, of course, next step is let's hopefully get these things on campus so that we're not. I see that there's plenty of tickets left for some of these quarterfinal round contests if you would like to enjoy, because fans simply cannot go to 3 straight weeks of going all over creation to attend a football game. And I think we're starting to realize that a little bit.
Well, I mean, obviously not trying to give too much an advantage, but like you said, it's not only financially, but just time able
Mhm.
to travel that much, especially for a team that's going to go on a 2 or 3 game or 4 game run. That's a lot to ask for of a fan, and yeah, maybe go a little more regional. I don't know how you do it because then you get an advantage, but yeah, that's what that needs to be talked about more than adding teams, if you ask me.
Yeah, exactly. Those teams that have higher seeds, why shouldn't they have the advantage of playing at home as well? It just doesn't make any sense at this point. But hopefully, we'll get there. There's lots to be sorted out in the college football world. We all know that. But let's get into these games. We're going to start things off on New Year's Eve at 6:30. The Cotton Bowl Classic played down there at Jerry World, and it will be Ohio State taking on Miami. Right now, I'm showing Ohio State as a 9.5 point favorite. 40.5 is the total line at the moment. The app I'm looking at. SJ, where are you leaning on this one?
Yeah, I mean, when it seems like a no-brainer, sometimes you really kind of second and third guess yourself and like, what am I not seeing here? What am I not realizing? I think a lot of it has to do with the fact of the last time we saw Ohio State, while they lost to as we can say now, one of the top teams in the country, it was still a loss. And then, A&M as ugly as that was, or excuse me, Miami as ugly as it was, we're able to get by A&M. So, I
Mhm.
mean, you kind of just taking that recency bias, the only thing I can think of, because there's no going to be a home field advantage either way. Ohio State's by far the better team, and 9.5 seems really high, but it doesn't feel like it's a stretch, honestly. Like a double
Mhm.
digit win easy, and you mentioned that total. That's something maybe you combine those as well, because that's I think this might be a little bit of a letdown, but then you got the countdown, so you can watch the ball drop once Ohio State puts things away.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. And I'm gonna go to the total here, just because of that number being a little bit high. I mean, I would have thought that it would have been more down around like 7.5 mark rather than the 9.5. I know it's kind of splitting hairs when you get down to it as far as when you're talking between those 2 points, just the way football totals work. But still, it seems a little bit awkward. But if anything tells us in recency that it's going to go one way, it's probably going to be Ohio State pulling away in this game. We know that they, like last year, they had a bad end of the regular season. They still turned it on and whooped everybody's butts in the playoffs. So I expect them to do that here in this game, but I'm going to go to the total just because I think it's safe. 40.5. Especially if this game does go south, I think Ohio State's going to rack up some points and pull away. So I think getting there is not too much of a stretch. So I'm going to go with that game to get to the overs. But I'm with you. I would not hesitate to parlay that with Ohio State covering the number as well to maybe get you a little extra juice if you feel good about that.
Yeah, I mean, if, for any Miami, wishful thinkers out there, it's going to have to be a deal where they just get some, a crazy offensive, explosion early on, and then try to hold on, because I just can't see them matching them score for score throughout a 4 quarter game.
Yeah, they're going to need some special stuff. And I like Malachi Tony returning some kicks or something like that. I mean, that's the kind of things they're going to need to have happen, I think, to win this one. But I don't see that taking place. We'll go to January 1st then as we get New Year's Day started. It'll be 11 o'clock kickoff here Central Time for the quarterfinal at the Orange Bowl, and it's Oregon and Texas Tech. This is 2.5 point line as I see it right now, is Oregon being the favorite, and then the total at 51.5. I'm going to go. I'm going to go here with the supposed underdog. I guess I don't know. For me, I don't understand why they're the underdog, and I guess it is one of those lines that usually makes you think, well, what does Vegas know that I don't know, kind of thing. But I just think this is a simple fact that Texas Tech's not going to get any love just because they're not going to. They. But if you look at the season as a whole, I mean, when Tech's been asked to do win the big game, they've done it impressively. They did it twice against a pretty good BYU team. I know that they're not, they don't have huge win after huge win to look back on the resume, but neither does Oregon, honestly, the way that their schedule matched up this year. They were in a lot of very close games, a couple of them that they really honestly should have lost and just pulled out at the very end of the game. I know that they played Indiana tough, and Indiana's proven to be a very, very good team at this point. But I think this Tech team's way more balanced than people give them credit for. They're good defensively, and they can get the offense cooking as well. They're going to be jacked up for this game too. I just I don't know. I feel like this is a Tech kind of meeting the moment type of situation, and giving them points especially. I would have felt good if they were a little bit of a favorite, but I'm going to take that 2.5 and run with it.
Yeah, I mean, how many we just talked about it. Indiana's been 20 some whatever games since, and they're still trying to earn the respect. I think it's the same deal with Texas Tech. They just haven't done it on the big stage, and then you bring into the fact of what they did with perfectly legal, but they've definitely been a team that's taken an advantage of that NIL situation and kind of just I guess bought their way into the spot. But hey, anybody can do it. They were just able to pull it off. So I'm not hating on them for it. I'm just saying, like, there's some skepticism there because of that as well.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be the only, I guess rationale I could see. But I mean, as far as on the field, yeah, this is a toss up to me, and that line shows you that it's a neutral site and you're less than a field goal. So, and that's why I could see either team winning. So I'm going to play it safe as possible. With these offenses and just the way they like to get up and down the field, I'm going to take that total. 51.5 is where I got it at and played it. I don't know if it's some books have probably shifted here or there, but that just seems pretty low for these. I mean, getting to the 30s for these teams is, that's sometimes you're there by halftime, even in big games. Like, doesn't mean that, either one's might get out early and have to hold on or blow a lead, but I could see him putting some points up here. And like I said, this would be, I don't know, I just, either way could see team winning. I do think if it's going to be a runaway game that favors Tech. Oregon just hasn't been that offensive team that we've known them to be this season. So if you think it's going to be, you see getting out of sorts, you want to maybe do some live betting, get on Tech if they get up a touchdown or two earlier, and maybe even have a 10-point lead at halftime. You watch that first drive of the third quarter and then kind of go heavy on them maybe, because if they get up, they're a hard team to, because even for all the offense they have, that defense is pretty stingy in itself.
Yeah. They definitely seem like a team that is built to be playing out in front. That's for sure. So it'll be an interesting game, but I don't know. That's the way I'm feeling about it. With Tech having a little advantage here, but I do think you're right there. Looking at that total as well. I mean, history would certainly tell us that. The next game on the schedule is the quarterfinal at the Rose Bowl. 3 o'clock kickoff here Central Time. Indiana taking on Alabama. Of course, I mean, we've done this all year long with Indiana not getting their love and respect, and they certainly have earned it. I mean, they've won all the big games. They knocked off what was the giant there in Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. So I give them credit for that. But they're going up against, of course, a name that's been there before in Alabama, and you always expect them to play well in these moments as well. SJ, where are you leaning here on this one?
I mean, I didn't. It's like I don't want to be in that camp where I just kind of like said, oh, not giving them any respect, and so I don't feel that way. But it is hard to, when you haven't played a opponent like this in this situation. So when we saw last year when they got it against one of the big dogs, ended up losing. So that does stick in your head a little bit. I still think Indiana can maybe get it done, but a little bit more difficult than some people are thinking. I'll pick Bama to cover the number. A 7. I think you got a little better number than I did. I only got a 7. But I don't. I think Indiana's going to win. I don't want to be like, totally be like, this is going to be, tough, and they're barely going to pull it out. That just seems real. That seems high against in a playoff setting. if that was, Ohio State was crazy to be favored by 9.5. Indiana's maybe even a little crazier to be favored by a touchdown or then some against your one of your perennial powers.
Yeah. And I know this isn't the typical Alabama team. We certainly have talked about that, but what they did last week too, getting down 17 points and then coming back and win the game, tells you about how they play in those games. It's not necessarily what it has it proven out, I guess, throughout the season, which, is kind of contradictory to the way you're supposed to think, but you just know that they always meet the moment. That's what they do. That's how they play. And I think they've got the players. We know that to do it in these types of moments. Now, I do think that, yeah, they have some struggles in this one because some of their strengths don't really match up well against this Indiana team. I think Indiana, they're going to pin their ears back and try to get some pressure on Simpson because they know that that's what Alabama can do is just throw the ball. They can't really run it. So that'll make it difficult. It's going to be a very tough task for Alabama, like you said, to win this game. But to sit here and say that they're going to lose by more than a score, because I got it at 7.5. They're getting 7.5 points. I mean, I'd feel comfortable about them losing by a touchdown, and then you still get the cover. So I'm just going to lean that way. And part of it too, I guess, is my, the typical, fan injury, waiting for that kick in the nuts, I guess, as a college football fan, because, wouldn't this just be the worst thing that we all wouldn't want to see is Alabama rise up and play well and even win this game. And that's the kind of thing that I think is going to make it close, at least, just to piss us off. So I'm going to go with Alabama just because of that, to at least cover getting that many points.
Yeah, I mean, if they win and you're not an Alabama fan, just don't turn to ESPN for at least a week until the next game starts again, because it's going to be unbearable, even more so than it is now. I mean, Indiana should win, and they're the better team on paper, but Alabama has kind of mucked it up a bit, so that may, and you'd use that as a negative in some cases, but probably the time that Indiana was closest to defeat was against the Penn State team that kind of was able to do that with the athletes they had, made a couple plays here or there, kind of made it ugly, and were able to. I mean, Indiana need the pull a miracle to beat them. So maybe that'll play in their favor. But I do think Indiana, maybe win by like 4 or 5 points, something like that, even a field goal. But I think they'll be in control. Just won't be able to blow them out or pull away as maybe you would think, judging by their resumes.
Yeah, yeah. So final game then on the schedule will be the Sugar Bowl at 7 o'clock here Central Time. Georgia taking on Ole Miss. 6.5 point favorite for the Dogs, 56.5 the total. SJ, where are you leaning on this one?
Yeah, this could be kind of like how the how the I guess this playoff holiday kind of starts, how it ends too. Is I think Georgia's going to just win pretty handily, and not only based on recent success, but you have a coaching upheaval, and it's okay. You can get by Tulane, but you're not playing Tulane again this week. So yeah, it's just there hasn't been a good recent history against them. I know they've played close here and there, but close don't get you those championships that you're looking for. So I just think Georgia is a good enough team to not maybe like at some points they're gonna have a hang up here or there. This gonna be a focused bunch here, knowing that, I mean, you think about it, you're playing, you would have thought it's gonna be pretty tough game here, and then you end up getting a break there with half the coaching staff is gone, and
Yeah.
last time they played the game a hell of a run. So I think Georgia wins comfortably at 6.5. I think, yeah, take that, and even I don't know, maybe feel crazy, bump it up a little bit, give yourself some more, maybe get the plus money there. But I think this one might not be all that entertaining in the end.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think the hoorah rally just this is where it ends for Ole Miss. They're up against a very formidable team. Going into the postseason, if you asked me who I thought looked the most impressive there at the very end of the season, I would say Georgia, and I still think that they're probably going to be. I think they're going to be the team that wins this thing altogether. But last time they met up, like you said, Ole Miss gave them a run, but Georgia also put up 500 yards of offense in that game. So I don't expect that to be that different this time around. I think they get things rolling and cooking. I mean, at times when they haven't played their best, they've been a little bit slow on offense. That's not going to be the case against this Ole Miss team. They can get it through. The key, I guess, is the other side. Can Georgia's defense play good enough to hold them down a little bit? And I certainly think that they will in this moment. So I'm going to go Georgia as well. Like you said, maybe even feel a little saucy about spicing that thing up to see what kind of money you can get on the plus line once you get there. I think this thing will probably swing that direction before it's all said and done. So I'd probably get on it now if you're wanting that lower number as well. I think it'll move a little bit that direction. All right, that's what we've got here for the quarterfinal round games here for the college football playoff. Of course, there'll be a few other bowl games sprinkled in, but they have done a pretty good job of clearing the stage kind of here for the college football playoff games here for the New Year's holiday. There'll be some others coming up after that, but we'll look at those. Make sure you're following us along on Twitter at SJMBets, at Cherokee CP. You see the handles there. We'll put out maybe some other plays along the way for that as we're going along as well. So stay locked in there. Of course, we'll put the picks that we have on this video for you there as well with our confidence level, so you can kind of know what we're thinking heading into these quarterfinal round games, and we'll have a lot of fun with it. Hopefully we get some good contests. Like we said, we I guess we've got the feeling that a couple of them might not be, but if we get surprised, we'll be happy fans, I guess. That's the way it goes sometimes here come postseason time. All right, that's our picks here for the college football playoff quarterfinals here in 2025, I guess moving into 2026. So hope you and yours have a very happy new year. That's SJ Munoz. I'm Chris Parks. Thanks for joining us for another week of picks here from Every Day We're Covering. We'll see you next time for some more covers.